Welcome to Manifest It Like a Woman, where we talk about wisdom, wildness, becoming, a podcast for the woman unfolding. My name is Amber Turner, and I am your host. And in this podcast, we explore the sacred and sometimes messy intersection of womanhood and feminine spirituality. Through poetic musings, honest reflections, and a wild woman wisdom, we unravel the beauty of becoming, not as performance, but as birthright. This is a love story between you and the woman you're becoming. Let's get into the episode. Why your mess makes you magnetic. Welcome to the show. My name is Amber Turner. Welcome to Manifest It Like a Woman. We are here with another episode, and I'm really excited for this episode because we're talking about why your mess makes you magnetic. Your rich waters. So today's episode is something that I've really been reflecting on about this idea of grounding and how electricity and power gets brought into matter. So I really want to share this because this to me is profound, especially for a lot of women who find themselves trying to, or at least feeling like they need to be perfect. And this is why your mess makes you magnetic and why your waters are so rich with experience, with sensuality. And we're going to talk a little bit about the idea of being a virgin and the difference between virginity and virgin and pure and pureness. So I have my notes, and this is going to be a podcast for Manifest It Like a Woman. I'm also going to upload it to YouTube, perhaps. We'll see. But I've just really been contemplating. I've been in my feels a little bit and building some new delicious things. So I would like to share them with you guys. So in this episode, I'm going to share more about the richness of you, what it means, why it matters, and how this awareness can change the way you see yourself forever. So I'm really excited to announce that the House of Her is going to be launching on November 11th. And so this membership is going to be so juicy, so delicious, so yummy, so decadent. We're going to have meditations. We're going to have activation. We're going to have recipes. We're going to have rituals, all in this membership. So the House of Her is a living library of meditations that I've created. These meditations are using my method, the hypnotic and melodic method. So with this meditation, it's about really getting embodied and really grounding yourself in safety. And that's what I find is really hard for a lot of women, is to ground themselves, root themselves, plug into safety. And we start there. We use this method to really create and be. And when I talk about Manifest It Like a Woman, when I talk about it in my book, this is the beingness. We ground into beingness and we allow thoughts and inspiration, spirit to rise from that place. That's what the hypnotic and melodic method is all about. It is about allowing things to unfold in your life and grounding into your beingness and allowing thoughts to rise from there, inspiration to rise from there, spirit to rise from there. And that's when you become magnetic, when things become effortless and you get into flow. So really excited about that. The House of Her launches November 11th, so stay tuned for that. So I want to talk about this thing about purity because a lot of people think that especially women, think that they're damaged or something's wrong with them if they're not pure, if they have trauma, if they have baggage and all the things. But I want to offer in this podcast that that's actually what makes you rich. That's actually what makes you magnetic. So in many spiritual spaces, especially in feminine spirituality, we hear the same thing. Purify your womb, cleanse your energy, clear your subconscious. But recently, I realized something different. So I like to think of these things about power and electricity and how life is what we are. So electricity, in order to ground electricity, they use a grounding tool. I forget what it's called, but I guess it's called a grounding tool. And instead of using pure water, they have to have, the water has to be like mineral rich. So it can conduct the power, electricity into the ground. And when we talk about grounding, this is bringing power, awareness, electricity into matter, into earth, into ground. So the idea is that pure water does not act as a good conductor. It actually needs to be mineral rich. And so pure water is actually a really bad conductor of awareness, the rod of light, electricity. It needs to be mineral rich, fertile, for it to conduct and bring it down into earth, into matter. Pure water, distilled, stripped of minerals, clear, is high frequency, but non-conductive in the physical sense. And so that made me think of the waters of the womb. And so maybe this mineral richness is the same to be said for our womb. Not that it needs to be pure and cleared and erased, like the stories and the things we went through, but it needs to be rich. Rich what though? Rich with story, rich with righteousness. So it's not about eradicating the things that you went through, the traumas and the dramas, baggage, and it's not about erasing it. It's about clearing the distortion about it, because that's going to lead to your magnetism. So pure means that, so in other words, pure water is stripped of minerals. It's clear, but it also does not conduct power, electricity. Mineral rich water, on the other hand, can be said as embodied consciousness that has gathered the minerals of experience, emotion, and sensuality. It's spirit with texture. And so here's the thing. I know that people think, and I've said this too, with Virgin Mary, that she was this pure vessel. But it's not about her being a pure vessel. It's about her seeing things righteously. It's about removing the distortion rather than being something pure, because it does not conduct this awareness, the power, and grounds it into matter, into Mother Gaia, into earth. So maybe the point isn't to get rid of our stories, our emotions, our past, but maybe to see them differently. So in this episode, I'm going to share more about the richness of you. I'm going to share a little written essay, poem, whatever you want to call it, parable, perhaps. I don't know all the technical terms for these things, but I want to really share this to elucidate that it's not about the experiences and your past and making and acting like it never existed and erasing the past. It's about seeing it different. It's about shifting your perspective. It's about seeing it righteously, and removing the distortion, not the experience, but removing the distortion of that experience. So I want to talk about these words, pure and virgin, because we think about virgin, it's often associated with the feminine. We think about the Virgin Mary. It's usually associated with the feminine. So pure is more about the masculine realm. It is not about so much the feminine, because the feminine is flavorful. It is full of emotions and its richness. It's fertile, which is more virgin-like. And I'll get into the word virgin rather than pure, where pure is clear, because mind being in the more masculine realm, we're talking about mind. We're talking about pure intentions. So the mind needs to be clear. Clarity of mind. So pure is more associated with the masculine realm, mind, versus womb, which is more the virgin aspect of it. Now, what does pure mean? Pure is unmixed, clear, clean in intention. The word virgin comes from the feminine realm, the body, the subconscious, the creative. It's not about being untouched. It's about being unclaimed, whole unto herself, fresh and sovereign. That's what virgin means when it comes to our womb. So sovereign, fresh, unclaimed. Now I want to share the richness of you, because this came to me because of power needs richness. It needs stories. It needs experiences. It needs these things, emotions and sensuality, to be grounded into earth, into matter. You were never meant to be washed away. You were meant to be revealed. The point was never to become pure like glass, but mineral rich like the ocean, rich with life. Because power doesn't move through what is empty. It moves through what is alive, through waters touched by memory, gathered from experience. So when they told you to purify, they did not mean to erase your story. They meant to see it rightly, righteously. It's not about absence. It's about alignment. It is the place where judgment dissolves and only discernment remains. When Aphrodite bathed after love, she wasn't scrubbing herself of sin. She was reclaiming her shine. She was rinsing off distortion, returning to neutrality, so the next kiss could find her whole again. Even baptism was never about rejection of the past, but remembrance, a cleansing of perception, a washing of the eyes, so we might see ourselves as whole, radiant, mineral rich, capable of conducting heaven through the human. So don't drain your waters. Don't fear their depth. Let them shimmer with everything you've lived. Beauty is not in the absence of experience. It is in the way you carry it, the way you alchemize it, the way you rise from it glowing. That is the richness of you. That is the current that creates new worlds. So if pure is clarity of the current, virgin is the richness of the water it flows through. And so when we think about the womb, we think about this richness. We think about the fertility of the womb. And it is not about pureness. The richness of soil is not absent. It is not void. It actually is rich with minerals. It is rich with nutrients. It's rich with stories. And why this is really important, especially as women, is that when we talk about becoming virgin-like, I guess is a way to put it, it's not about erasure. It's not acting like things didn't exist or you didn't go through things. This is what leads to wisdom. This is what leads to boundaries. This is what leads to standards. So honoring yourself and the things that you've gone through is really, really, it's about getting rid of the distortion, but honoring yourself and into wisdom. So you have boundaries, so you have standards, and that you have discernment. So this is the difference between virgin, which is more associated with the feminine, and purity of mind, pure, which is more associated with the masculine. So we think about mind being pure, being a clear channel, and coming into the womb, the fertility, the richness of the womb, to then ground into matter, to be made manifest, to come into fruition. So when the pure mind and the virgin subconscious meet, Clarity meets creation. That's where manifestation happens. It's not about being pure or perfect. It is about being aligned. The current flows when both are honored. The current flows when both are honored. The point isn't to erase what was, but to see it righteously, to let every experience settle into wisdom. That wisdom becomes the mineral in your water, the weight that gives your love gravity, the substance that lets your light actually land and ground into earth. Safety for the feminine doesn't come from purity. It comes from containment. A container built on discernment, truth, and self-respect. The sacred edges that let her richness move freely without leaking her power. Our boundaries, our standards, our discernment, they're not restrictions. They're the treasure chest that keeps our gold from scattering. So I really wanted to share that. I think that sometimes as women, we get in our heads about, am I perfect? Am I perfect enough for a relationship? And again, that's still looking external. And we decenter masculine energy and we bring it back to ourselves, and we center ourselves in pleasure and we honor ourselves in our pleasure. That is how you manifest it like a woman. Okay. But I did want to share that, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Manifest It Like a Woman. Again, it's not about being this clear channel. You are this flavorful, colorful, beautiful, fertile richness that all of your stories and all the things that you've gone through has shaped who you are. But it's about erasing and getting rid of the distortion and seeing it righteously. And that's what's going to ground it into manifestation. Anyways, guys, that's all. The doors to the House of Her open November 11th. If you're interested, I'm going to leave a link below. You can sign up for my newsletter. They are going to get first dibs. Follow me on Substack as well. I put a lot of things out there, my written things all out on Substack. So check me out there. And yeah, that's all I wanted to share. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will check you in the next one. Peace.